Here we go. Gentlemen, we are live.
What, it worked?
It worked.
Get
I can't
out.
believe it.
Another one.
It's another one.
It's a
Here we
goer.
are, another month. How brilliant is this? Welcome, Bushy.
Hi.
Welcome, Ken.
Thank you very much.
And
Matthew,
welcome me.
What about Digital Cara and
Well, I was
Naomi?
just about to say, look, a very big welcome to Digital Cara and Digital Naomi pushing the buttons. Can I hear the ladies?
You know,
fine
I
voice.
think they're getting more enthusiastic
That
every
did
month.
sound very...
Yeah.
And listen, welcome to our very first coronavirus.
Oh.
Here, Bushy.
I don't.
So what? Yep, everybody. We don't want to get our listeners infected here. We've got the hand wash.
Because you know what everybody wants to hear about even more now?
Yeah,
yeah,
It's the
yeah.
coronavirus.
Yeah, we're not-
That's what they want to hear.
We're not doing- I know, it's pretty strong.
It's
isn't
hoppy solvent.
it? Mate, this will kill everything. Right?
I think that's ball
It's
solvent.
good. Now listen,
Yes.
while we're talking about coronavirus, a couple of things.
Right.
First things first, Ken, you've got some very special prizes for us this week.
Look, when I sat down to think about what people would really like,
Yeah.
The most valuable thing on the planet at
yeah,
the moment.
apparently it's worth fighting over.
Oh,
I hear.
okay. What have we got, mate? Take us through it. Look at this.
3-ply.
Okay, this isn't your ordinary home brand, run-of-the-mill, rubbishy toilet paper.
Did we steal this out of Rob's
We took this out of Rob's.
personal supply?
Correct.
Very soft. Very
very
nice.
soft.
We're not joking. This is the price.
This is the prize. We don't have any other prize except this.
Yep.
All right, today.
Yep.
So,
What a great show.
have we got some people coming on?
Has it
ladies?
has it lit up with excitement?
Yep.
Right, just for the toilet paper.
They're on there right now going, oh, gee, they're giving away free toilet paper tonight.
Yep.
look.
Of course, we're not sending out a whole one. We're going to
No,
rest them 2 or 3
we're not
squares.
sending out a case. We're sending out, just one of
You
these.
guys stop it.
What's the consolation prize?
2 or 3 squares.
Oh, or a used
Oh,
bit.
fair enough.
Anyway, look, enough of this
Look,
buffoonery.
enough of this frivolity, enough of this talk. Listen, if you're out there, look, this has been an unprecedented, few weeks for everybody, no matter what industry you're in, let alone the firearms industry. And Bush, I guess maybe even before we start talking about Speer, just off the bat, how are we finding things with the coronavirus? I know that over in the States, there's issues there. Just in the firearms industry, people are starting to buy ammo and that sort of thing.
Starting to.
But, often we see, we had issues when Barack Obama was in, we couldn't get 22 ammunition.
We couldn't get much.
Are we seeing a similar trend here in Australia?
We're already there.
Yeah.
So
We're already there, or they're already there.
if I seem stressed today, it's because I've been looking at the currency today.
Yeah.
And today, we lost another 3 or 4 cents. In the last 2 weeks, I know this is no news to you, but we've fallen 20%. So we've actually just recently sent a dealer price list out to our dealers, and basically just got to throw it in the bin. We've got to start again. The price increases, unfortunately, not scaremongering here, just is. Where today we're at 55 cents US. Who knows where we'll be next week? But
Yeah.
we're falling off a cliff at the moment. We rely mainly on US products, but it doesn't matter. We're falling the same against the euro. So we're expecting to have another significant price increase. Talking about availability of product, yes, the US has gone nuts again. I can tell you some of our ammunition factories are writing 20 to 30 times the amount of business they were writing only last month. So I'm ordering 18 months ahead right now so we can have ammunition. Other things will be affected, but whenever this happens in the States, and it's actually happening here to some degree, it's ammunition that suffers. So we're planning ahead to make sure, look, there'll be shortages. I'm not saying there won't be, there has to be. We've got orders in from last year that still haven't been shipped, so we're not looking in too bad a shape, but things for later in the year and next year are quite concerning at the moment. So they do orders by order date. A lot of people say they forget about Australia. That's not true. Our order's just as important as any domestic order. So long as we've got ours in a date ahead of anybody else's, we will get it in that production stream.
Yeah, so, this is not sort of panic talk. This is just the reality of us doing business with international suppliers. And obviously their domestic market takes precedence to us.
No, it doesn't.
Oh.
I just said that. He's
Sorry.
a great listener this
Sorry,
time.
I was over there.
Yeah,
Looking at other stuff when you
You
started
just
to
go and
say
run your own other little
Sorry,
show
I was
over there,
just
mate.
check- I was just checking things
Good
on
on you.
you.
First of all, listen.
Yeah.
Second, don't make stuff up.
Okay.
Yeah, just
Well,
shut up.
Well, first of all, I didn't listen. I was busy doing this. And two,
But it
It
is,
wasn't just
it
for
is
your
a fact.
benefit.
Yeah.
It is a fact that we are treated the same as everybody else in the world. Sometimes licenses hold us up. Like there are things that hold us up. So a domestic account can take delivery of something because we don't have an export license in place. But that's rare. We've nearly always got an export license in place. So but there are hurdles for them to export. But like I said, they do it by order date. They know, that's a very fair system. If we want to order 18 months ahead, well, guess what? We'll get the product ahead of the people who don't. So, and that's what we work with.
But more, I guess what we haven't said is that we've already have word from our dealers that there is starting to be some demand.
Oh, there is.
Demand is picking
Yeah.
up here in Australia, following suit with what's happening
Yeah,
in the
ammunition
US at the
sales
moment.
are very strong at the moment.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
so anyway, like I said, we're not trying to create any drama or
It's just
or
facts.
What's happening? Yeah.
but it's just letting everybody know that it is happening, and
Yep.
there could be shortages, and there's no doubt that we can't control the currency, and the currency is
Yeah.
what it's all about, and
Things
can't
are
do
not
anything
going to
about
get cheaper.
and like you were saying too, Bushy, just even if you're just a general sweep of general socials of dealers and their social channels, people are buying ammunition at the moment.
Yep, they sure are.
All right, well, look, moving on.
Enough with that.
Yeah, so just, everyone else there, I hope you're staying safe and all that sort of stuff. We have had a comment come through that, people are concerned that we're not 1.5 metres away from each other. But,
Oh, we hug it.
Well,
we
to
hug
be
and
honest
kiss
with
it.
you, I'd like to be.
Well, hang on. No problem.
hang on, no, he's out of frame.
Yeah,
He's gone.
yeah. I'll just talk from over here.
Yes.
Is that listener happy now?
Yeah. We're happy to say that, as far as we know at the moment, we're corona-free in here, other than a few on the fridge.
Just going to
Yep.
adjust your mic, mate.
Oh,
There we go.
sorry.
There
Yeah,
we go.
he's in charge of making it look
There
good.
we go.
It's a big job.
So, Speer,
So,
Speer.
so
what do we
welcome.
know about it?
Well, over to you, Bushy.
We sell it.
Welcome to Speer Bullets. That's our theme for today.
Yeah, look at that. Well, no, it's not. It's, keep up.
Sorry, mate.
Yeah.
Let's talk about hunting bullets.
Yeah, so Speer make a range of bullets. Today we just want to talk about hunting rifle bullets basically, although I'm sure I'll get sidetracked. But they make lead round balls for muzzle loaders, lead pistol bullets, lots of handgun bullets. We don't sell that many here because we're not a big handgun culture like the US. But probably first of all a bit of history from Speer. I would have liked to have a picture of the ammunition plant actually, but these things are ITAR, so they're controlled by the US State Department, so it's very difficult. I'm not saying there's not images. I'm sure if you Google somewhere you'll find some sort of an image, but there's very little information because you actually need to apply 2 months ahead to even visit one of these. I've been to this facility, and you have to get ticked off by the US government to go into an American ammunition plant. That's with all ammunition plants. So you can't just sort of knock on the door and say, "Hi, I'd like to see what you're doing."
And they let you in.
They let me in, yeah. They did.
Some security.
So,
We're going right into the cheese shop.
Oh, no.
so look, it's an amazing complex. This brand is actually a guy's name. It was Vernon Speer who started it. He's an old bugger, he's dead now. And he started it in 1943 in World War II. And the reason he started it was people just couldn't buy components because obviously all these ammunition plants that existed, this didn't exist at the time, were all making things for the war effort. And people who actually wanted to go hunting and that couldn't get components, couldn't get ammunition. So they were pretty much starved. So they'd kept all their brass and then tried to get bullets, and that was almost impossible too. So Vernon started making it, I think, probably from his backyard, to be honest, in the wartime. And in 1951, after things had settled down, he actually opened a business facility at Snake River, Lewiston, Idaho, where it is right now. It has not moved since 1951. So it's a massive complex. The interesting thing is his brother Dick Speer, came along. Good old Dick.
Yeah.
Clever Dick. He came the very next year and started Cascade Cartridge Incorporated, which is CCI, at the same spot. So they actually started producing ammunition and bullets at the same place.
Did Dick?
Dick did. And hence it was founded by those two brothers. In about the 70s, it was bought by Omark Industries. Will you shut up? It was then bought by Blount Industries, which was, believe it or not, a timber organisation in cutting timber. And then it was bought by ATK, which is now called Vista. So it's only had about 3 or 4 owners in 70 years. And each one of them has invested more in it. And it's now much bigger. Even when I was there, I was about 12 years ago, and they have expanded ammunition producing capability, especially in rimfire. Amazingly, it is a big place. 1,100 employees.
Wow.
That's a big joint.
Yeah.
And you think about it, subject to coronavirus problems because they've got so many people, but they're still up and running and producing it 24/7. Actually, they work 3 shifts when they're this busy, and they produce really good stuff.
Yeah, and I guess one of the things too, Bushy, in relation to the Speer is that how long ago was it we had a really decent price drop on Speer?
Yeah, well, that's right. 2 years ago, they revised the costings of how, I don't understand how manufacturers cost things. They have programs and things that do it. But they revisited the program and recosted how they make Speer, and the price fell significantly. I could throw a figure out there, 30 to 40% it was. That was 2 years ago. Obviously, we've had a few increases since then. But it's actually one of the lowest priced products on the market, and it's as good as anything else on the market. Speer is a high quality product at a really good price. And we sell a lot of it now that they've had that price adjustment.
So I guess before we start getting into the nitty gritty of all the different types of projectiles that we're going to go through, don't forget, this is your show, guys. We'd love your feedback. If you've got a NIOA related question, if you've got a specific Speer related question, you want me to throw reloading in there, fellas, if they've got a reloading question or anything like that?
It's all related.
It's all related?
We'll take any question.
Oh, yeah, anything.
I don't know whether we can answer it, but
please,
we'll take it.
send it through Digital Cara and Digital Naomi. They'll vet the questions, hopefully, and they'll pass them through. So please, if you've got any questions, start writing them now and we'll try to answer them the best we can. How about you kick it off, Bush? Let's talk about the hunting bullet.
Right, well, do you think?
Yeah, I guess, to get in front of this a little bit, I guess what we want to talk about is the different construction of these bullets, which is really important.
Just a little bit to talk about it, because a lot of people don't understand how different projectiles are put together. And obviously all brands approach it a different way. We're talking about Speer at the moment. But there's a logical step to why they make a bullet and why they make others. They're there for a reason. They don't just go, oh, let's make one in that design and that one that design and that, just because someone else has got it. Every bullet in their range has a reason, and we'll explain that a bit.
So we're going to start off, gentlemen, with the soft points, the Speer soft point.
Yes, everybody has one. Most popular bullet style ever made, and still the most popular bullet style sold. It's a very low cost product. It's made quite simply. And believe it or not, like the first jacketed bullet, because years ago when, we all shot muzzleloaders. I was, Daniel Boone, I was not. Yeah. I have, but never owned one. Anyway, but they're all lead bullets. And for bullets to actually be shot at higher velocities through a rifled barrel, lead just didn't work. It just used to melt, foul the barrel, didn't work. So they started experimenting with metal jackets. And the first thing ever made was a full metal jacket bullet. And a full metal jacket bullet's almost a complete reverse of a soft point bullet, because the full metal jacket was made with the jacket all over the top and the lead core base open at the bottom. Soft point's just the same thing turned around almost, really. The opening's at the top. And hence you can get some expansion. With the full metal jacket, you don't get expansion. So it was just an evolution of turning around a current thing and making it more practical and actually a much better hunting bullet, because it gave a much more positive result.
And Ken, we were talking earlier about, because, well, let's face it, you're old. and I needed to know, bullets where they came from. But they just started off just as cylindrical balls to start with. Is that correct?
Yeah, well, you wouldn't have probably called it. I don't know what you call it back in those days, but
they were just lead balls.
But in the old days, yes, when firearms first came along, yes, that's exactly what they were shooting. They were shooting lead balls,
muskets and that.
Muskets and
didn't
that sort
have
of
any
thing.
rifling.
Yeah.
And the problem, there's several problems there. I mean, a sphere is not very aerodynamic for a start.
Yeah.
No.
It kind of wobbles through the air, and it just wherever it's wobbling at the time is where it hits. So that's how it all began. But like all things like this, somebody starts off with an idea and then
it progresses.
and then enhances and improves on that idea, and that's obviously where the rifled barrel came from, and the bullet, the current bullets or projectiles, which are the same thing. You can call it either, but yeah, that's where the idea came from, and then it's all about what this is all about is matching the velocity to the construction of the bullet to what you're actually shooting it at what range, because that has an effect on velocity.
You need all those things, really.
All those factors make a difference, and that all comes down to then how effective that bullet works.
Yeah,
exactly.
So, and that's basically what we're talking about here.
And I mean, I'm not just talking Speer, but all other bullet manufacturers. There's a lot of science to it, isn't it? There's a lot of...
Oh, there is, yeah. Ballistic coefficients and sectional density and all that stuff. And especially when you get to match bullets, it's such a science with the ogive or ogive. The jury's out on how you say that.
I don't know how you say
but they can make a 308 supersonic at 1,000 yards, and that's what these full bore shooters do. And that's because it doesn't fall through the speed of sound. It doesn't get disrupted, and therefore it's more accurate till before it falls through the speed of sound. And you look at a 308, how the hell would that ever get a bullet to reach 1,000 yards and still be doing more than 1,120 feet per second? But by this aerodynamics, the low drag bullets, they can actually get them there without doing it. And if you went back 10 years ago, that was impossible. So yeah, there's great leaps and bounds in bullet design still.
Yeah. I just think it's interesting that as our technology gets better, these things keep improving. Where you think you might, this is the best, they just keep working on it. But Bushy, back to the Speer and the soft point, just a great all rounder.
Yeah. So look, their standard soft point bullet is only really in varmint bullets in 22 cal, and 204 is a hollow point. So look, it's got no bonding in it. It's a simple construction. These bullets are like a lot of bullets. A lot of the bullets we're about to show you are all made out of basically, they start off as a round disc that's punched out of a sheet of what they call gilding metal. That gilding metal is made out of basically a conglomerate of metal. It's an alloy made out of copper and nickel, basically.
And that can vary too. Obviously, the construction of that bullet, that case.
And the thickness of that jacket. But with these, it's really only varmint type bullets that they're looking at with this particular soft point bullet. And in fact, once you get past 22 cal, there aren't any. They become Hot-Cor, which is a different type of bullet. So look, as I say, it's a flat disc they start with. That they've got this series of punches. These machines are just amazing to watch. And that they're all, because it's so malleable, they can actually punch, swage, punch, swage, punch, swage, and eventually they end up with something like this soft drink can, this cylinder with an open top. And at that point, they insert a lead core. In this soft point bullet, it's just a lead core inserted, so there's no bonding to the jacket to the inner core, and there doesn't need to be for what this bullet's being done for. And therefore, doing that, it's even cheaper to make. And at that point, they simply use other swaging tools to close off the point, trim up the soft point, and there you go, you've got it. So it's a cheap bullet. It's generally a mushrooming bullet, although driven out of something like a 22 to 50 years and not a lot left at one of these, because it just doesn't have any inner strength. It's not meant to be a deep penetrating bullet. It's a soft, cheap bullet for light game and varmints, and they actually call it a varmint soft point.
Sure. Having said that, it's not the softest or most expensive bullet that they make either.
No, that's right,
No,
but
it has some controlled expansion.
The cheapest.
Look, because of the very nature of what we're talking about being ammunition, we can't exactly give you a direct link to show you what we're talking about, because obviously the different types of bullets we hear are in all sorts of different calibers.
Yeah, the way our website actually works is that they are put together in caliber.
Yeah.
So we can't direct you directly to a soft point. You'll find if you go on our website,
Yep.
they're all there.
Yep.
But you search by
Yep.
caliber.
So what Digital Cara will do is that she'll just put up our link to our ammunition site and Speer, and then you can have a bit of a look around the site and just have a look. Because we're going to be talking about all different types of things. Bushy, we're going to talk about soft points and hollow points and no doubt match
Every point.
or every single point. You get the point,
Bullets.
right? So we're going to move on to
Yes,
hollow
sure.
point or HP.
Hollow points.
So
Yes.
this is probably one of the most popular bullets we sell. In fact, in 30 cal 130, it is the most popular bullet we sell in Australia. It's a very explosive bullet. It's very soft, weak design, deliberately made that way. And as you can see, compared to a match bullet, it has a massive hollow point in the front of it. Now, that's a good thing and a bad thing. It's more wind affected at longer range because it's not as aerodynamic, because it's, go back to the old ogive or whatever, it's very short and very radiused in, as compared to the next hollow point we'll show you that's longer, more aerodynamic, travels further, has a smaller hollow point. So there's reasons for everything, like I say, but as a bullet out to like 200 yards, this is an amazing bullet. It delivers all the energy to what you're shooting, because I can tell you these things don't come out of anything. They just deliver the lot. Yeah, so you say, well, 30 cal 130 is the biggest bullet. It starts at 2252 grain, and they're like little bombs that go through the air. But even this 30 cal bullet is strong enough. It's our most popular pig shooting bullet, but it's not a bullet that you take out for really big pigs or pigs with mud on them or things like that, because it just won't penetrate that well. But if you've got clean, medium size, not giant pigs, and you've got good bullet placement, these things are just brilliant. And that's why they're our biggest selling projectile. They just don't come out of things, they deliver all the energy into the animal.
I think the thing that's worth mentioning too and clarifying is that hollow point is a style of bullet. I think when I was standing behind the counter of a shop, there was a lot of people who thought every hollow point bullet was a super explosive or expansive type of bullet. They are not.
No.
There are other factors at play.
Yeah,
This particular bullet.
This one is.
This one is.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
But you can't just go, oh, it's a hollow point. It's going to expand like crazy.
No.
Like there's other factors.
Yeah, you might see that busting bunnies videos and stuff like that, where you see all that expansion and stuff like that. But
Yes. Well, I can tell you right now, I used to shoot those 52 grain Speer hollow points through my my 220 Swift, and man,
oh, good.
very explosive.
Nasty.
Digital Car, have we got any questions yet? We do. We've got questions. We've got questions. How about, can you pass some over? Let's have a look. What have we got? Alrighty.
Putting us to the
Oh,
test.
here we go. Look, Bushy. Will Speer ever make a 22 cal 55 grain BTSP? I'm assuming that's ballistic.
Well, seeing as how I'm the director of
Boat tail
Speer
soft
Bullets,
point.
Oh,
yeah,
jeez.
yeah. Look, I wouldn't think so. They used to make a cantilever bullet, but that was flat base. But yeah, look, to be honest, the boat tail thing in 22 cal isn't that relevant unless you're talking about a 77 grain or an 80 grain match bullet sort of thing. That's a really long, slender thing that they are shooting 1,000 metres. 22 cal bullets, just by their length, are not very ballistic. There's a short, light bullet. A boat tail, to be honest, in a 20, and this is my opinion, but believe it or not, I reckon I'm right. But but in 22 cal, about the only thing a boat tail does is help bullet seating. Boat tail bullets are really easy to bullet seat when you're loading. Look, I'm not saying it's not ballistically a bit better, but not a lot. You know, you just don't have the length of the bullet there to do it. So I don't see it coming, no, to be honest. That'd be my answer for that. They haven't made one in 70 years, so...
The closest thing they probably have, they've got a match bullet in a 52 grain hollow point boat tail.
Yeah, they do, yeah, correct.
That's probably the closest thing to it.
But a match bullet, which still can perform, but not necessarily a hunting bullet, yeah.
We did have another quick question that people were asking about there's panic buying in the States. It's going to happen here. If you go to the very start of our live stream, we kind of addressed that already.
Sure,
So,
but the short answer is yes, it's happening in the States, and yes, it's happening here.
Dealers here are incredibly busy at the moment, and most of it is ammunition sales.
Yep. Is this the same Ken that used to own the shop in Carindale, Stevenson? Love that shop.
Say no.
Well, it's actually Karina, but yes.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
It was Karina.
Yes. Oh, mind you, he was a fair bit younger version.
Okay, but here's the question. They said they loved the shop. They didn't love you.
Yeah. No, well, that's understandable. Yeah.
Listen, if you were in that shop, you probably would have met Ken's more amicable and nicer brother, Greg.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he was the favourite.
He's a good bloke, Greg.
We hide him away from the public.
Yeah.
But yes, same bloke. Same
Yes,
bloke.
you can go there. You can still go there now and get your laundry done.
Yeah, it's a laundromat.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
All right. So, have we got any more to sort of say about the hollow point?
We haven't started.
All right. Well, let's continue.
Yeah.
No, we just about have. But so my comment with this hollow point bullet, because we're about to look at another one, is it does have a big hollow point in it. People say, oh, what's that for? Well, it's hydraulic effect. So, you're shooting something that's got fluid in it. I've got fluid in me. Hang on, a bit more. It does increase the expansion. And when you think about that too, there's some interesting ways of looking at that, because a lot of people shoot polymer tip bullets. But you take the polymer tip bullet out, there's a massive hollow point in there. So it's really just a masqueraded giant hollow point bullet. But anyway, look, this... No, it doesn't have a hollow in it.
Yeah, but it's still got the same idea.
It hasn't got a hollow.
It's all about
hollow.
the initiation
Don't listen to
of
him.
expansion.
It's not a hollow point.
If you take some of that lead out, it does.
Oh, yeah, let's walk around with a drill. Yeah. It's easy to buy these. They're already hollow points. Anyway, a magnificent bullet out to 200 yards on anything, but be aware, very little penetration, very nasty when it hits something. Next.
All right. Well, look, we're looking at... We got any more questions coming through, team? Don't forget, keep asking your questions, because don't forget the best question.
Yeah.
All right. I'm just saying. All right. We've got 2 of these up for grabs today.
I thought they'd be asking what brand that is.
Well, mate, it's only the best, okay?
Rob would always have the best.
Rob's got the best. We've taken that from the boss's bathroom. So he doesn't know about that yet, but he probably will when he's in next week.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So what we got here?
We're going to talk Speer TNT.
So following on from what I was talking about, you see the difference in the image between this bullet and the last bullet. This has a much smaller hollow point, therefore it's much less affected by wind, much more aerodynamic, and it has that much longer tapered ogive, and therefore it's more aerodynamic. So this is a better hollow point for distances beyond 200 yards. It'll be more accurate, it'll be more stable, and it'll arrive there at a higher velocity as well.
So Bushy, just in relation to that discussion, because we were talking about this earlier this week, you saw the previous hollow point great for getting through things like cover or that sort of stuff, whereas you sort of saw this one a bit more for the distance. Is that correct? Or have I got that wrong?
Totally.
Good. That's it. I'm just...
When you talk about going through cover, if you hit a blade of grass with that bullet out of a 22 to 50, there'd be just about nothing left of it.
Right.
No, they're seriously soft. It's just that one's better aerodynamically and performs better at shorter range. This one's better at longer range.
Right.
They're both great bullets at any range. But all I'm saying is, if you want the best thing, if you shoot most of your little furry things and that out to 200 yards and even pigs and that, I'd be going the other way. There's some people who disagree, because like there's a 30 cal 125 grain TNT in this. And the TNT sounds nasty, doesn't it? And it is. It's actually, that jacket is actually relieved inside. It's got scores inside it, so it does open up more. But that's because it's a long range bullet too. It's designed to get there a little quicker than the other bullet, but getting there that far out, you've lost a lot of velocity, so the bullet needs to be able to open up. Without that weakenings in the jacket, it probably wouldn't open up much at all. So there's a bit of science in this bullet. Absolutely.
So yeah, it isn't as expansive as the hollow point, but it's still, and it's better for a bit longer range. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to work better once it slows down a bit too.
Yeah, correct.
Now, listen, if you've got any questions, don't forget, they could be stupid questions. I'm asking plenty today. But if you've got some stupid questions, don't just let me be the one asking them, okay? So it's important that you get on.
I actually thought you had that covered.
Thanks, mate.
No problem, mate. No, good job.
No, that's good. But listen,
good job.
We do have a few more questions, Bushy, that have come in. So
Right.
first on is, what have we got here? Sorry, mate. Any Speer 224 heavier than 60 grain for hunting?
Yes. So Speer do a 70 grain semi-spitzer. Having said that, you'll need a 1 in 9 twist in most rifles to shoot this bullet, otherwise it won't stabilise. So 223s with 1 in 12 be borderline, probably okay, but like a classic example is a standard 22-50s 1 in 14 rifling twist, a 222 is 1 in 14. And I don't think you won't be able to stabilise this bullet. It's too long and it'll start to yaw and you actually see it go through the target. It needs more revolutions to get it going. But it's so it is only a varmint soft point bullet, as I said at the beginning, but I do know a lot of people who use that 70 grain bullet in a 223 and shoot pigs and things with it. Now you need good bullet placement to do that, don't get me wrong, but the bullet is capable of doing the job for sure.
And that's just not this bullet either. Anything when you start getting up in a 22 and those 68, 69, 70 grainers, you're going to need that faster twist. So it's not just this one.
It's about bullet length, yeah. Once they get too long, you can't use slow twists. You've got to use 9s at least, or 12. Some things you can get away with 1 in 12, yep.
Gentleman's asked, he says, I absolutely love Speer, but are the new Speer ballistic tip bullets coming out soon?
Well, we can't call them ballistic tip because that's a Nosler brand name.
Yeah.
But yeah,
there's a new bullet called
polymer tipped. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, they're actually just starting to make these. It's in their 17 HMR ammo. Have we got one in anything else yet?
Do they have them in
trying to
pistol code?
No. Look, they are. Their plan is to roll out a polymer tip range. Believe it or not, they actually already make them under the federal brand, but they're in speciality type bonded bullets for big game. But they are going to do this. So given time, and they call them VNTs. That's the Speer version of a polymer tip bullet. But no, we don't have the bullets at this stage. They are starting to make a couple, I think.
Well, there's a new one that they're calling Impact.
Yeah.
Right, which is a polymer tip bullet, but they've only got it in 6.5. They've got a 140 grain 6.5, and they've got a 172 and a 190 grainer in 30 cal. So that's what they've got.
But I wonder if they're bonded bullets. I'm sorry, I'm not 100% on that.
I don't know if they're bonded or not. I've seen very little on these.
We ain't got them yet, but look, I think the truth is they're going to come, but we don't know what the time frame is for that.
Yeah, I've only just seen this in the latest, when I was doing the hot products catalogue, in the latest 2020 dog, they've listed these Impact bullets. They're a polymer tip bullet, so I imagine that's what the gentleman is referring to.
Yeah, I hope so. If not, clarify more on your question.
But the thing is that once they hit the shelves or whatever, or once they get them going, I imagine that we'll be doing them.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
And speaking of the NIOA Hot Products Catalogue, Ken, you and Digital Cara have been busy beavering away.
We have.
We are getting dangerously close, aren't we, to finishing that?
Yes. As I said earlier, we would have been probably finished and had it to the printers if Cara hadn't let me down a little bit.
Oh.
But didn't turn up yesterday. Apparently she had a headache or something. I don't know.
Okay. Well, in fairness, she does work with you.
Yeah, correct. I was going to say you left yourself over.
I'd have a headache.
I'm pretty sure I gave it to her. Yes. But yes, no. In answer to your question, it'll be.
When do they reckon it'll land here, ready to go out to dealers?
It will be in here. We hope, unless something terribly goes wrong with these poor people that are in the factory, the middle of next month.
I
think the
dealers will have them by the
end
of April.
14th of April. It's supposed to land here. a zillion of them, and as soon as we can after that, we'll be getting them out as always. Oh, it's going to be a nice big fat one this time.
We got lots
and
of new
we've
stuff.
improved upon the paper content.
Oh,
you know,
the paper,
not soft,
the paper grammage.
It's not soft and absorbent.
No.
But,
but it would get you out of trouble.
not like the prizes today.
No.
Yeah.
And speaking of prizes, nice segue. We've got to give one away now. We've actually had a couple of comments come now
Pussy's bailed out.
that people are concerned that we're handling these. These are just dummy rolls at the moment, not dummy rolls. Okay, we'll have a proper nice one wrapped up for you.
This is tragic, Matthew.
People are keen. I'm just saying they are keen. Digital Cara, do we have a winner for the first roll of Quilton 3-ply?
3-ply.
3-ply. This is good stuff.
Are you allowed to use a brand name?
Yep.
I think so.
Toad love saw it.
Oh, yeah.
Cooking.
Who have we got?
They love us.
Brett Wilson.
Brett Wilson.
You're lucky bugger.
Brett.
Congratulations, mate. You are the winner of this complete roll of toilet paper. Listen.
It will save you a fight down at
It will
down at
save
the
you a
local
fight.
with some poor old lady.
Okay,
you know?
now listen. What I'd like you to do is send us your address, but PM your address to Digital Cara, and we'll get that sent out to you. Okay, we might try and find him something else to go with it. I don't know.
Oh,
Maybe a Kappas or a stubby cooler or something. I don't know. But mate, that is yours. All right, that is.
The toilet paper could be wearing anything when it gets there.
Really?
Oh, we're amused.
Okay.
We're amused.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, Brett, congratulations, mate. I'll tell you what, you are the envy of everyone watching live stream right now.
I don't think Bushy's keen on this
I
idea.
don't think he is either. I think it's.
All right, next, Bushy.
We are moving on. All right.
What are we up to?
We are up over the
Hot-Cor.
page. We are about.
I'm really glad these guys work at the other end of the office.
Hey, we're in marketing. This is what we do.
This is what we do.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing. Yeah.
Bushy, what can you tell us about Speer Hot-Core?
What would you like to know, Matthew?
Well, everything about it.
Right.
Yep, everything.
Well, you've come to the right place.
Yes.
So here we have another soft point, but it's not, but it is. So this is the thing, and this is what we talk about bullet construction. So this is basically built the same as the varmint soft point we were talking about, same process. You end up with your cylinder, your core gets filled, but instead of them actually just dropping a pre-sized lead core into it, they pour molten lead into it. In fact, it's a lead antimony mix, not a very tough one for this bullet, I don't think. But this is a much stronger bullet for hunting bigger game. Now, I'm not saying it's a bonded bullet. Bonded bullets, by definition, is actually when you plate the bullet with the jacket onto it. Electrolysis process, a big word. So this is still formed that same way, but by pouring that molten lead in, it does kind of weld itself to the jacket. So it's a much tougher bullet than that varmint soft point we saw before. It's still a very cheap process to do it. Has a uniform jacket. You'll see later on that we have an even tougher version of it that has a tapered jacket. But generally speaking, for a hunting bullet, again, I talk about 200 yards. It's like that. This is my spin on this, but out to 200 yards, this is the hunting bullet to use. We have the next bullet you'll see is the one to use beyond it, and there's a reason for that. But this will hold together, you know, if you shoot a bigger animal at 50 or 60 yards, it will still hold together really solidly, whereas a long range bullet won't, because it's designed to expand at lower velocities, and it will start to fall apart if you shoot something too close. So there's reasons for it. These bullets go right up to 45 caliber, 458, and start at 24370 grain. There's a massive range of them. It's a very good accurate bullet and a very reliable hunting bullet. Hot-Cor.
I want some after that.
No, it is. For the money, this is one of the best hunting bullets for Australian game, because we only have a very small amount of animals that you need a specialised bullet for, to be honest. There's you can use them, no one's stopping you, but for the average type of animal we hunt and shoot, this construction will do the job all day long. Perhaps the only thing I'd exempt out of that is things like buffalo, sambar deer, maybe. I think it's good to have an insurance policy and a bit stronger design again, but honestly, this thing, it's an impressive bullet. It'll do the job.
Yeah. There are some bigger things out there if you're into camels or scrub bulls.
He's into camels.
Or,
yeah, you can tell.
Well, only the good-looking ones.
Jeez.
The two humpers, not the one humpers.
Okay,
Yeah.
look, we've got a couple of questions through, Bushy. One,
Right.
any sign of Speer developing 17 cal projectiles?
Well, they're making them now,
Oh, there you go.
but they're not for centerfire.
Oh.
Well, hence 17 HMR,
the little one.
we have the VNT. They are making that bullet. So they make a 17 grainer for that, but they're not selling it as a bullet on its own. I'm not convinced they're going to go down the road and make something like a 25 grainer for a 17 Remington that, because those calibers are not very strong in the market. And look, they could, but they are making a 17, but it's only 17 grain and it's not available for a loading. It's only meant to be driven at 70 HMR velocities.
I tell you what, they'd go through a 17 Remington, those 17.
Well, I think they'd vaporise at the end of the barrel. I think that's the problem. They just wouldn't make it.
Oh yeah, they'd.
Yeah. Yeah, little puffs of grey smoke.
Yeah.
Another question. I've just purchased 500 125 TNT 308 caliber for short range target shooting up to 200 metres. Are they renowned for target accuracy or just hunting accuracy?
No, both. That's a very accurate little bullet. In fact, all Speer is. Like when we get a rifle here, an accuracy test, quite often we will use the Speer, the big hollow point that I used in the first place. In fact, and I say that because I'm probably talking about 308 caliber. That's available in a federal cartridge in 243 as well. We find it one of the most accurate cartridges we've got. We don't have a factory ammo cartridge loaded with that TNT bullet. If we did, I'm sure it'd shoot like a cracker. They are very accurate bullets. And like I said before, it's designed to be accurate at longer range even better. So mate, you've made a good choice. Depending on what you're shooting with those guys, I'm sure they work well on most animals. I do think the performance you'd get out of the 130 grain hollow point would be a little better closer up, but it depends on what you're shooting. I mean, that's still a great bullet. We do sell a lot of those.
I think it's worth saying
Very accurate bullet.
That Speer is definitely more about hunting bullets than they
Absolutely.
are about target bullets. But
Yep.
but that's the weird thing about rifles and componentry is accuracy is where you find it, and just because
Yep.
it doesn't say match
Yep.
on the
Doesn't mean
packet
it's not accurate.
doesn't mean it won't shoot like a thrashing machine.
Yeah.
And I've seen in different rifles that I've had that garden variety bullets shoot
Yeah.
better than some of the match grade bullets.
Yeah.
So I look, if they work for you, you've made a good choice.
Oh yeah, no, it's a good bullet.
Yep.
Excellent. All right. Well, we shall move on, shall we?
Where are we up to?
Well, let me
Bow tails.
Bow tails.
BTs. There we go. Ah,
A bullet with a funny bum.
look out.
So leading on from Hot-Cor, this is where I was going. So this bullet is a totally different design. People like to buy boat tail bullets because they're easy to load. They just sit in the case mouth and you can see them easy and all that. But the truth is, that Hot-Cor bullet, I reckon, is a superior hunting bullet. This is a bullet if you want to shoot beyond 200 yards. And I say that because, okay, your velocity's starting to wane and disappear. Let's say it's, pick a figure, whatever, but it's 1,000 feet per second less than what it was at the muzzle. Your Hot-Cor, under those circumstances, the further it goes out, the less it's going to expand because it's quite a tough bullet that's semi-welded to the jacket. This bullet isn't like that. It's like that original soft point bullet I talked about. There is no bonding between the jacket and the core. Now, a lot of people say, oh, that's no good, but it is. Because that's the whole idea. This performs at long range. It's ballistically better because it's got that bow tail, ballistic coefficient's better, gets there at a slightly higher velocity, but when it gets there, it is a bullet to mushroom and open up at lower velocities. That's what it's for. Whereas a Hot-Cor isn't. It's meant to be driven hard and hit things at a higher velocity and closer range. So we have a bullet for both occasions. Like if you're shooting open plains areas and that, where you know every shot's going to be 300 yards or so, this is a bullet. Because it will open up at those lower speeds, whereas the Hot-Cor I don't think would be as reliable, to be honest.
Yep, and it will be more. It should be more accurate at longer range as well. it'll stay
Yeah,
stabilised for longer at lower velocities.
It's only a Spitzer lead tip version of a boat tail bullet, but it is ballistically better, as I say, a bit more stable and actually get there at a higher velocity than the flat base bullet would.
Cool.
So, yeah, I don't know what you can add to that, but you can see there's 2 hunting bullets there for 2 different reasons. You know, they don't make a boat tail just because it's easy to seat. Because let's be honest, if they made that in the Hot-Cor version, although I don't think they can because of the base of that bullet, they need a flat base bullet to actually do that lead pour. So, but it makes sense what they've come up with. They've got a bullet that expands at lower velocities at further ranges, and they've got one that's better at closer ranges. So there you go. A reason for everything.
There is a reason for everything.
There you go.
So Bushy, we're going to move on now. I guess we could call this Speer's pièce de résistance.
The pièce de résistance.
We're talking Grand Slam.
Yeah.
And again, yes, it's really, really good if you use it for what it's meant for.
Yeah, exactly. This is a really tough bullet.
Yeah, exactly. And so you can call it as grand as you want, but if you use it in the wrong way,
right,
it's not going to be the best bullet.
Well, just to clarify, I didn't call it grand.
Right.
They did.
No, fair enough. And I have no problem with it. But this is more of a big game.
Oh, absolutely. It's considerably more expensive than the other bullets, and that's because it actually has a precise jacket that is tapered. So it starts, as I said, with that disc, but it's actually much thicker in the middle than it is at the outside. So it's very thick at the base of the bullet for that bullet retention and penetration that you need for a much bigger animal, and it's thinner at the front, so they do get that expansion. But as you say, Kenny, you shoot a Grand Slam at a thin skin animal, it's just going to go straight through it and not achieve a whole lot because exactly, it is made. The most popular bullet we sell in Grand Slam is the 30 cal 180 for sambar hunting in Victoria. And they love it. It's a great bullet for that because that's a big animal, and if you don't hit one of those quite right, well, you need the penetration, and this bullet will give it to you every day of the week. So I always call it the Hot-Cor on steroids. It's a really, really tough bullet for big animals. And look, I'm not saying you can't get a premium bullet above it, but for the price, this is a great thing. It really is, because it will work on all the big animals we've got.
So Bushy, I mean, that's just, you know, obviously a good smattering of the range that Speer give us. Again, a great price for the whole range. Like they're really good value for money now. Yeah. You know, I've got to say that. Look, you know, we were up there, the price was some of the more expensive brands before, and not that it didn't justify that, but this recosting they did has just, it's just running off the shelves. Speer's going really well now. The other thing I touched on before too, which I did see at this factory when I was there, is when they plate bullets. Now, I haven't talked about handgun bullets because, you know, really we're just only allowed to do it target shoot, and that's mostly lead anyway. But the most popular bullet they make is the Gold Dot handgun bullet. It was made for the FBI and those guys because, you know, they shoot a lot of people. But what they found is any jacketed bullet that was for sale by anyone who made one would not penetrate these big, thick lumber jackets and people that these lovely criminals seem to wear. Just big overcoats and things like that. And they basically couldn't stop these guys. Like a normal soft point, because that's all a pistol bullet is, would just expand in that, and they'd end up with a big bruise and run off sort of thing. I bet you'd hurt. Bloody well would have hurt. Yeah. But that's the truth. And so they were looking for somebody to develop a bullet that they could actually use so the guys didn't shoot back at them, which makes sense. And they came up with Gold Dot, and that is a plated bullet. They make these things, I wasn't allowed to have pictures of these things, but they've got these massive big vats, and they actually immerse lead cores in there, and this solution, it works on electrolysis, and basically it takes a while to do it, but I can't remember how many bullets they do at a time in one of these vats, but it's thousands, and it just over the time, can't remember how long it takes to plate a bullet, but it's molecule by molecule, and it just attaches itself to that lead core, so therefore it's actually chemically welded to it. So these bullets just do not fall apart. And they've used this technology in rifle bullets as well.
But the Gold Dot handgun bullet is the most popular law enforcement bullet used in the US. They've used this technology in federal ammunition and federal bullets. So Speer make the federal trophy bonded bullet. In fact, they used to sell it a little while ago under the Speer brand. Not sure why they transitioned to federal, but that's what they did. We still sell those bullets, trophy bonded bear claws and things like that.
And the fusion bullets,
super tough bullet. The Fusion centerfire ammo, if you see that out there, it's such good value for money. I'm surprised we don't sell more of it. It's what we call a plated bullet as well. It's a super tough bullet. And these plated bullets are really accurate because you're not relying on the thickness of a jacket or how it's done. It's done molecule by molecule. These things are perfectly concentric and swaged after the process, and they're super good bullets for the money. But they're sold under the federal brand, so they're not sold under the Speer brand.
And there's a new bullet coming out, the Terminal Ascent.
Terminal Ascent.
Yeah, and that'll be a
That's
Speer
new
bullet
for
as well.
this year, so
Yeah,
that's
that's a
another-
polymer tipped boat tail bonded bullet. Perfect thing for shooting things like sambar at a very long range and stuff like that. Any big game animal that you want to shoot at longer range and you need a really, really tough bullet, that's the one.
I think the big question is though, Ken, will we be able to read about Terminal Ascent in your new hot products catalogue?
I don't know, because Kara's been leaving a lot of stuff out. I keep on having to look. If it doesn't look good, she doesn't want it in there. That's it, it's gone.
Called
Well,
proofreading.
She does prefer design over content.
Correct.
So yeah,
Correct.
so
But that's okay. That's okay. She's a great designer.
Yeah.
But listen, we do have a couple of non-bullet related questions,
Yeah,
Bushy.
right.
If we could maybe bring those up before the prize.
I'm
the
afraid.
final prize.
Right.
Just an update on the ETA of the Savage 110 Elite Tactical. Sorry to throw that one at you.
Well, hang on. The Elite Precision.
Savage 110 Elite Tactical. That's what they've written there.
Yeah, well, it's called the Elite Precision.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think our first shipment arrives tomorrow.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's an exclusive.
Yeah. I think it's actually tomorrow. I think our very first rifles. So I assume you're talking about that long-range PRS type rifle with the vertical pistol grip.
Yeah, I think that must be the one.
Yeah, because it's the only gun they call Elite.
Okay.
The rifle that they call Elite. So yes, they'll be available next week. We'll be able to get them out the door.
Okay.
We haven't got a massive shipment of them, but I think we've got nearly every calibre there.
All right, and see your local firearms dealer and
Yep.
get your name on one. That's what's probably most
Yep.
important. Bushy, just an update on the loopholed glasses, the performance eyewear.
Well, I haven't got any.
But they're in the they're in the hot products catalogue.
They are.
Yeah, they're in
The-
there.
Kara liked them.
Yeah, she did.
They're supposed to be shipping in the next 2 to 3 weeks. We have ordered some, but I didn't even get a chance to look at a sample at SHOT Show, to be honest, because they didn't have production glasses at that point. There was guys running around wearing them. I had to rip them off their heads to see what they were like.
I tried them.
What were they like?
I like them.
Yeah. Actually, I did film them actually at SHOT Show when I was there, and we're going to have a little video coming out very
I
soon.
like those greeny, colour changey looking ones.
Oh, well, don't forget,
Like a
these,
fly.
Loophole, make the best optics, and their coatings and stuff are on these.
Yeah,
on these
they
glasses,
use
so-
Guardian coatings and scratch proof, the diamond coat and all that. So yeah, it's pretty impressive stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, I'm expecting some to land here. Let's say 6 to 8 weeks be the first time we see some, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you've got any more questions, please keep sending them through. I see Digital Cara madly writing down there. And what have we got there? The Digital Cara, is it a long question? She's getting the sore fingers for
Go on, give your toilet paper away.
No, we've got another question. Here we go.
Righto.
All right. For Bushy.
Oh.
Okay. Best close range, 100 metres or less range
For what?
For what?
Fellow deer.
for fallow deer.
Oh, that's the same question.
sorry, yeah.
6.5 creepy.
More for fallow deer.
For fallow deer,
Yeah.
the bullet I'd be using is a Hot-Cor. Absolutely. Probably a 140. They make a 140 or a 120 would work on fallow, but in a Hot-Cor. Probably lean towards a 140 depending on how big a fallow deer you think you're going to get. I'd go a 140. Be a brilliant bullet at 100 yards. Awesome.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, listen,
I think we've just about done it.
we are almost just about done, except for one thing. Another prize, Kenny. All right. Again, we want to thank you guys for tuning in today. It's been a very informing day today because look, I don't know much about projectiles and stuff, and Bushy, I'm learning a heck of a lot. But I mean, for you guys out there, that you guys probably know, a fair bit about what you guys do. But it's always good to go back to basics and just find out all about this stuff.
It's important to pick the right bullet for what you're using.
It is very important.
Yeah, very important.
So way more important than the caliber, really.
Yeah.
A firearm can punch above its weight or below its weight, depending on your bullet choice. Anyway,
Hold that, Ken, because we're about to give this away. And now, again, I know you're all sitting there with bated breath.
So soft.
It is with bated breath. Now, listen, look, we'll chuck something else in with this, okay? It won't just be this. We're going to chuck in just a prize of equal
Bottle
value.
of water.
Bottle of NIOA water.
Yeah.
Listen, we still don't know where this water's coming from yet, but I tell you what, after you drink this, you need this, okay? Yeah. But the winner is, drum roll please, Brody Hewitt. Congratulations,
On you,
my
Brody.
friend. Well done, Brody. Congratulations. This roll of toilet paper is yours.
You lucky bugger.
Make sure you PM Digital Cara your address because we'd like to get that out to you as soon as possible. And listen, it's been great. Ken, you were charged with the task of coming up with what we're going to talk about next month on NIOA TV Livestream.
Correct, I was. And I completely
forgot
about it.
So there you go, folks.
So, it'll be a surprise.
It will be a surprise.
You have no idea what it'll be, but I know you.
Yeah.
Because the way you go about things, 900 times between now and then you will tell them what it's going to be.
I will remind you.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll come up with something. But
We
listen,
will.
We really appreciate you hanging in there, guys. We love doing this for you every month. Keep your questions coming in. You know, if you just got NIOA questions, just flick them through at any stage and we'll try and address them next time we have our live stream.
Sure.
But thanks again for kicking in. Stay safe out there. These are challenging times at the moment for a lot of people, for a lot of business. And look, stay safe and
be nice. There's no need to panic.
no, there's no need to
No,
panic.
folks.
Just relax and
sake.
please don't fight over toilet paper. It's crazy. I saw people fight. I didn't like it. It's not good. All right. We'll see you next time on NIOA TV live stream.
See you guys.
And we are...